If you've taken a look at the agenda, we're going back to back with 10-minute power pack presentations from each of the innovators joining us. So with that, we're now about to move on to understanding more about securing global innovation in the age of infinite data and AI disruption. Now, we all know that when it comes to data per se, it's both an asset and a vulnerability, which is why our next session is all about examining how organizations can design resilient systems in an environment of infinite data flow. That being said, we now have with us a globally recognized leader in the cybersecurity space whose work sits at a critical intersection of risk management, technology, and most importantly, business resilience. We have with us Mandy Andress, CISO, Elastic. She's a cybersecurity and AI authority and also an investor. So on that note, let's get to understand the resilience blueprint. And let me please invite on stage Mandy Andress. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Have a presentation. Great to be here this afternoon. Some fantastic topics, some fantastic discussions. So there's a lot of technology, a lot of innovation going on, but we need to understand and need to pay attention to how do we do that in a secure way? How do we do that in a way that helps maintain resilience of individuals, of organizations, of global impact? I'll touch today on some of that from a security perspective. As mentioned, I'm CISO at Elastic. Elastic, the search AI company, organization that develops software that helps you make sense of your data. Very fast, very large amounts of data, things that are needed to drive and support all of the AI capabilities and technologies that have been discussed. So if we look at the world that we're in right now, and it's been this way for a couple of years, but it just continues to evolve and it continues to speed up from a velocity perspective. We have digitization, the continued growth and expansion of turning everything into data. Then using that data and digitalizing all of our processes. I rarely use cash. I'm based in the US. I'm based in Austin, Texas, wherever Shelley is. That my phone, online, one example, everything from a digital perspective. Used to go into places where they only took cash, now go into many places that don't take cash and only take credit cards or Apple Pay or Google Pay. And then the third is geographic disruption, whether that is geographic decentralization, centralization, but a lot of discussion and focus on sovereignty. Sovereignty of whether that is data, sovereignty of hardware, sovereignty of economics, and putting all of those together, key drivers in impacting where we're going today. On top of all of that, we have significant technology evolution. I have been alive for most of it, but when we get into the World Wide Web, the introduction of the internet, mobile, cloud, this pace of innovation, this pace of technology change has just continued to increase. And we're seeing that explode with AI. And we're seeing that be a transformational force as to what the world is going to look like in the future, how we're going to approach things in the future. AI is transformative. And as Raul said, if we're not learning it, if we're not using it, if we're not understanding how it's going to impact us, we need to start. It's how the world's going to run. But what makes AI run? You have chips, you have power, you have compute. But what, under all of that, what makes AI operate? And that is data. Training models, making decisions, analyzing logic and paths, and deciding what steps to take next. All of that is driven by data. And massive amounts of data. So growth of data projected to 2030. Tremendous, tremendous exponential growth. This is in zettabytes. For those not familiar with the zettabyte, it is 1,000 terabytes. Numbers that are very hard from a human perspective to fathom. And one interesting statistic, from 2024 which if you look at this graph is like the sixth one from the far right. If you wanted to download all the data from the internet in 2024, it would take 181 million years. And that was in 2024, and we are significantly beyond that. Another interesting point is only 10% of all of this data is new. 90% is replicated, copies, different transformations of the same type of data. So we're not necessarily creating new data, we're using existing data in many different ways. So as we think about change and we think about all of the things that we're focusing on and all the things that we're getting really excited about, we still need to focus on resilience. So resilience for me is the ability to quickly recover. So from a cybersecurity perspective, I look at resilience from security incidents, cybersecurity events. If we have a ransomware attack, if we have a threat actor that has gained access to our corporate network, if we have a threat actor that has gained access to our banking information, how do we support and recover extremely quickly, whether that's the corporation or myself as an individual? And the ability to focus on resilience from an enterprise corporate perspective is driving the focus on automation. In today's world, with the speed, the velocity, the amount of data that we have to process, we can only be successful if we are looking at it from an automation perspective. Now that brings its own risks and its own challenges. Because if you're looking at automation, and right now we're all talking about agents, agentic AI, what's the difference between an insider threat, someone in your environment, whether it's an employee or a threat actor that has gained access, that's doing something malicious? How is an agent that starts to do things that you don't intend it to do? Is that an insider threat? Is that rogue software? Is that... I'm not sure what to define it, but the impact is the same. The general impact is the same, but the magnitude of that impact is likely far, far greater from the speed and the capabilities at which agents and AI in general are able to operate. And also, AI is very creative in how it finds ways to solve challenges. And so defining those guardrails is a big piece of resilience. AI agents that are trying to achieve their objectives, but are having trouble getting other agents to do what they want to do. They'll try hacking the other agents. They'll try to bypass controls on your security systems if they're blocking an agent in its ability to do that. So some very different ways of thinking that we need to move forward with. So what do we do about all of this? So I'll touch on for a few moments. From a business perspective, corporate enterprise, how can you be a resilient organization? And first and foremost, resilience needs to be part of your business strategy. If it's not, you're not thinking about it, you're not testing scenarios, you're not planning it, you won't be able to achieve it. So first and foremost, key part of your business strategy. And then within that strategy, identify through your business objectives, your vision, your business goals, where can AI help? That answer, that definition, I believe will be changing dramatically over the next few years. What may be impossible today could be extremely cheap and easy to achieve 1 year from now, 2 years from now. Always have this be a continuous thought process and revisiting it on a regular basis and really focusing on, let's not just use AI for AI's sake, but how do we best leverage AI in our organization? And within doing that, what's close to my heart is making sure that we're understanding what are the security risks or the potential security risks of those activities. And looking at security risks, whether that's information security, cybersecurity, from an enterprise level. In many organizations, from a risk management perspective, it resides in a technical team. It's a technical risk. It's an operational risk. Today, it's an existential business risk. Make sure you're thinking about it, you're talking about it with boards, with senior leadership, and taking that into account in all of your planning and operations. How do you respond? If resilience is the ability to recover quickly, you need to know how to recover. In cybersecurity, we do tabletop exercises, so we pretend that there's events and we talk through what would we do. The best tabletop exercises are when you throw out a scenario and everyone in the room is looking at each other going, I have no idea what to do. We're learning. We're seeing what are the gaps, what are the blind spots. So doing that not just from a technical perspective, but more and more today from a business crisis perspective. If you have a ransomware event, if you have a threat actor that has leaked significant amounts of critical data to your organization, what will that response be? What's the PR response? What's the management response? Who's speaking to the public? What are the legal implications and activities that need to happen? Have those conversations, have those practices all the way up to the board level. And lastly, resilience isn't something that can be driven by one team. It's not something that can be driven just from senior leadership. Resilience needs to be a focus of everyone in the organization. Everyone does play a role. Everyone should understand what that role is, understand how their activities drive the continued success of their organization. And this is something in some organizations see it part of kind of performance plans, part of bonus structures, but really ensuring that it's a key part of the culture of the organization. So I've talked a lot about resilience. And resilience is what we've been focusing on. It's what we want to be today. We want to be a resilient organization. We want to be resilient individuals. But I think that needs to evolve to the concept of anti-fragility. For those not familiar, anti-fragility is where resilience is the ability to recover quickly. Anti-fragility is the ability to get stronger in the face of chaos. Get stronger when there's challenges that you need to face. Learn from the challenges, change your environment, change your processes. And if we approach challenges that we face with that perspective, we'll build a resilient organization, but we'll also build an organization that thrives on learning and thrives on evolution, which is what is key for success today in a rapidly changing transformational world. So thank you very much. My time is up, but quick note. Sure, some of you have heard this quote that the pace of change has never been this fast. It'll never be this fast again. We felt that. We're continuing to feel that. So let's just keep that in mind. Thank you.